Good morning. Oh, I've got it on the wrong thing. Hold on. Here we go. Let me close the door. The wind. I have all my windows open this morning because it's so nice out. I hope it's nice where you're at. I was out watering my vegetables that I planted the other day, and I planted some of those tiny tomatoes, those really sweet ones, tomatoes and basil and cucumbers and one more thing. What did I plant? I forgot. Did I write it down? I don't know. I planted one more thing. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to my craft room today. My name is Sue from Snake River Stamping. I'm really glad you're here today. And I was today's Memorial Day, and which is a day in the United States that we honor the veterans that lost their lives in war serving their country. And so I would just like to recognize that today, and appreciate not only those people that lost their lives, but the families that lost their loved ones, and that affected them the rest of their lives also. And I was going to ask you, if you lost a loved one or a friend or someone in the armed services, if you want to drop their name and your relationship to them in the chat, that would be great, so that we could recognize them, the branch that they served in, and if you know, like, were they in World War II? Did they lose their life in World War II? The Korean conflict, Vietnam conflict, one of the desert storms, whatever. I would love to see those names, and that we could recognize those heroes today on Memorial Day. So I would like to also, I was going to ask you about graduation, because we're going to do graduation cards today. Do you have graduates in your life? Are you getting graduate invitations? I'm getting some already, and I have some family members, some friends, some former students that I had when I was teaching, that are graduating. So it's always exciting for me to get those announcements and those invitations at this time of year. So I'm going to turn our camera down to do a few announcements, and then we are going to get started on our cards for today. Okay, I just like to remind you about my May specials. I am continuing to do our specials, even though Stampin' Up! Is now giving you rewards for every order $20 and above. You get 10% Stampin' rewards to use on a future order, and you can accumulate those. You can spend them as you go, whatever you would like, but those are available to you. If you do a $40 order in my store, you will get a card kit, and I have 2 card kits to choose from for this month. If you do a $40 order, you get 2 of each design. Everything's cut for you. You do have to have your own stamps, your own ink, but these are the more masculine ones that I have for this month, if you would like that. And you can turn them into anything. You'll get the ribbon, you get everything cut, you get the paper, and it will be cut for the dimensions of this. And I will email you the link to the video that explains it. So if you want to go back and just refresh your memory on how to make them, you can do that, and what I used. And then the other card kit choice, and I have to admit, this has been the popular card kit choice this month, is the one using Everyday Happiness. And again, I will cut all of this, but you do have to be able to stamp with ink, your own inks and your own stamps. okay? But I can cut everything, including the ribbon, for you and send that to you for a $40 order. If you do a $50 order, you get these same card kits, and again, your choice. You get a package of gems, surprise gems out of my gem basket. You get your Stampin' Rewards with every order, of course. You always get your 10% Stampin' Rewards. If you do a $60 order or more, you get the card kits, the gems, and you get one sheet of dimensionals. And you can choose between, let's see if I have new ones. I think I have new ones here. Maybe you can't see those. Anyway, regular dimensionals, the regular ones that we have, they're this size. Maybe you can see them better on this sheet. You get one sheet of those, and there's 100 on a sheet. Or you can have a sheet of mini dimensionals. You might be able to see it better on this one. And there's 240, I think, on the mini dimensionals. So you can choose, when I email you, I'll ask which size you would like, mini dimensionals or regular dimensionals. That's for $60 or more, plus of course your Stampin' Rewards. All qualifying orders are before tax and shipping, and any coupons you might be using. June, paper pumpkin. The paper pumpkin for May just, they arrived last week, and well, for me they arrived last week, and I've been looking at it, but I haven't done anything with it yet. Because it's Father's Day themed, and I'm probably going to do it with my grandkids for their dads this month. And one of the dads has a birthday in June also, and it has happy birthday in there also. Anyway, the one that's going to come out for June, you have to order by June 10th. It's by the 10th of the month, every month for that month. So for June, you got to order by June 10th. For July, you got to order by July 10th, etc. Okay. We have one more week of our joining special to get the starter kit. If you have a larger order, at least like about $100 in stuff that you would like to order, it would really benefit you to get the starter kit. You do not have to be a demonstrator. You can just be a savvy shopper where you save 20% on every single order that you do. The starter kit is also free shipping, and that's the only one you get free shipping on, except every once in a while Stampin' Up! Will do free shipping, and they never tell us before they tell you either. I mean, we don't know when the free shipping days are going to magically appear, and it's usually 3 days when they do free shipping. And so this starter kit is on free shipping. You get to pick anything you want. $165 a product for $99. Free shipping, you do have to pay tax on that for your state. But you pick any products you want. Can be from the catalog, can be from online exclusives, there's still some last chance stuff that they have available. It can be anything you want for those specials. Okay, so those are the specials that are going on for May, and this ends May 31st, the starter kit. And my May specials also end May 31st, and I'll have new specials in June. New card kits, new everything in June, okay? So that's those things. We are going to do today some graduation cards. And I'm going to show you some ideas on how to individualize, customize your cards for your graduate. Okay, my nephew, he goes to school in Seattle, and he's graduating this year, and his school colors are red and white. So I designed his card to be red and white, and he's a boy, so I didn't put too much bling on it. You know, I know he just likes things kind of simple and appreciates that a little bit more. So I wanted it to be, you know, just for a boy, I wouldn't put as much stuff on it. So for red and white, I made the base red and the background white, and I used Celebrate, and Celebrate is from a retired stamp set. I think I have it in my box. You might have this. It's called Wanted to Say dies. So you might have this. Oh, I think I took those out. I did. And so I took the Celebrate and then the outline of it in red, and then the word Celebrate I did in white, and it also had some stars in that package that I used. And then in our no, it's not in our catalog, online exclusive, and I linked this below if you're on YouTube and above if you're on Facebook. I think it's called Cap and Gown, and it's real similar to the set that I used to make this. I did not have the Stampin' Up set to make this cap, so I had to use a different one. I used a Simon Says stamp. Well, it's called Dare to Be Artsy. It's 18267. It's called Graduate, and it has all of these stamps on it. And I did have trouble with these stamps. They weren't very expensive. I mean, they were probably around $15, and I did have trouble with these stamps because they're not quite as well made as Stampin' Up. Stampin' Up has really high standards for their stamps and dies and things. So I just had this, so this is what I used because I didn't think ahead of time to get the Graduate one from our online exclusives. So I used this, but it had some really cute stuff that I liked. I did the cap. I used the diploma. I used the Dr. Seuss thing for a special graduate. I did You Did It, and congrats. Anyway, it has some cute stuff in it. You just have to be aware that sometimes when you buy stuff online from other vendors, they don't always have as good a quality, and so the stamping, I almost always use my Misty so I can stamp and restamp to get a really good quality looking stamp on my cards that I make when I do that. So I'm going to share how I made this card today after I've done my disclaimer, and give you the measurements on this card. All the pieces and parts in here. So I started out with a real red card base, and it's 11 inches long and 5.5 inches high, and I scored it at 4.5 and at 8.5 on my trimmer. And I would use my bone folder to give it a good crease on these lines. And that's just my card base that I'm going to start with. Then my front, where I put stuff, I used a piece of white. This is going to fold, and I'm going to have I'm going to make this, I'm going to use a little die cut to cut this out, and you can put money, you can put a gift card in here, you know, whatever you want. And I was looking for something that was red and white, and I didn't have a lot that wasn't feminine. Like I said, this is for my nephew. So what I found was in the trusty toolkit paper that I don't think we're selling. We are selling the stamps and the dies, but I don't think we're selling the paper. I couldn't find that. But if you happen to have that, or happen to have red and white, you know, if that's the colors you're using. And like I say, this, you're gonna customize this for the graduate that you want. And I was looking for red and white, and I was looking for something that wasn't feminine, that wasn't, you know, flowers and stuff. I had red and white flowers, but I did find this, and it had these little screwdrivers on it, so that's what I put inside there. And that's where I can put my gift card or my cash, whatever I decide to put in there. But on the front, back to the front, I had a piece of 4 by 5 1/4, and I stamped it first. I put the "You Did It" with my stamp down here. Let's see, where is that one? Yeah, I put that one, and I used my Misty, and I used real red because, like I said, his card is red. And I'm going to do a different card that's a different red in Cherry Cobbler, which is a little darker, for a different card in just a moment. So I stamped that first, and then I embossed it. And the embossing folders that I decided to use was exposed brick, and this is still for sale. It's on online exclusive. It's $11. And I love this folder because it's got the brick and the mortar stuff on it, and it's just kind of a really, really nice background. And it's not feminine, you know. I mean, it can be feminine, but it doesn't have to be feminine. So I cut my white, and I stamped first, and then I embossed on this, and then I'm going to put this on the card in just a moment. So then, to decorate it, whoops, there goes some stars. I cut some stars out of that die folder. Wanted to say dies. I used those, and I cut a couple stars there, and they're all together. So I cut a couple stars out, and I cut the background for Celebrate, and I cut the word Celebrate out of white to go on top of it. And what I'm going to do while we put the rest of this card together, I'm going to get my silicone mat out. Now you can put, like last week I think I talked, or the week before maybe, I talked about using the adhesive sheets. But I get these precision tip bottles from Amazon. And if you'll just type in precision tip liquid glue bottles, you can find them. They have tons of them. And you can dump your glue in here, and they have this really precision tip. They have a little stopper to go on the top that really helps to keep this from getting clogged up. And I'm going to do this a little bit ahead of time, just with some dots of glue. And I'm going to let it dry a little bit while we do some other stuff. And I just need like 7 or 8 minutes of drying time to get tacky. And I just kind of dot, dot, dot. Some people put they glue big strips of it, but I find that dot, dot, dot of glue works just as well. And I'm going to leave it on this mat to dry. I'm going to set it right over here very carefully, and I will grab that in a moment. So I've got my Celebrate. I'm going to put that above You Did It. I'm going to put my stars on, and I cut out, well, I stamped the graduation cap from the set I just shared with you from Simon Says Stamp. So I stamped my graduation cap and in real red, and now I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to fussy cut, because this one did not come with dies. And so when it doesn't come with dies, I have to fussy cut. And that just means I go around carefully. And it's easier to keep your scissors stationary, sort of. I mean, you are cutting, but it's easier to move the paper than it is to move this, you know, always turn the scissors. So like right here, I'm going to turn the paper, and then this is kind of uneven because it's a little tassel, so I'm just going to move the paper back and forth, and I'm going to get my tassels just like that. So I'm going to take some of my dimensionals that I have right over here and my tweezers, because I'm a tweezer girl, and I'm going to put a few dimensionals on the back of my cap, almost out on this page. And I'm going to put celebrate about right there. Put my cap about right there. And I'm going to put my stars. I'm going to use some minis. I've got a page of minis right here. And there's 2 stars that will hold the minis. Well, 1 star. I'm going to cut for that other star. I'm just going to cut some dimensionals in half. These are the minis, but I want them even smaller. Put on the back of here. And I'm going to put those up here. And I'm going to put one gem on here because I can't help it. Maybe he won't mind. I'm going to put right in the middle. I'm going to take a pearl, put 1 pearl right there, and I hope he doesn't find that offensive, but anyway, I think it'll be okay. All right, so I've got my celebrate. I'm going to bring this back in because now this glue has had a chance to set up a little bit. And I'm going to put celebrate down here on my mat. Now it fits on here, but sometimes you do have to wiggle it a little bit to get it just where you want it to be. And the great thing about the glue, of course, is that you can wiggle it and get it right where you want it to be. And the glue will dry clear. Or if it's not clear enough for you, glue eraser. You can use one of those, but this one looks pretty good. So I've got celebrate, and I'm going to put that on dimensionals too. More of the sheet, and actually you can cut all the edges. You can use every inch of this dimensional page. Now we've got some more dimensionals, but I can cut some of these. I can cut some of my mini dimensionals because I've got, let me see, there's that one paper I already cut up a little bit. Cut some of these to put on my C, because my C is just a smidge thinner than the rest. Didn't cut that all the way through. Let's see if I did a better job on this one. It's easier to cut if you do it on, when it's on just the paper that it comes on. It's easier to cut. And then of course it sticks to me too, which is always extra special. I carry them all over the house, and my husband was like looking at the floor going, what is all of this? I don't know, it's dimensional paper. Anyway, they're just attached to you. Did you guys go anywhere for Memorial Day weekend? My husband's still recovering from hip surgery. The hip thing is going really good. The dizziness thing is not so good. He fell, got really dizzy, and he fell last week and blackened his eye. Looks like, I don't know what, it looks like I'm in a prize fight or something. Okay, so that's the front. Now, one thing I did do on this is I used Wink of Stella, which is a little glitter brush, and sometimes I spray the whole card, but remember this is for a young man, so but I'm going to give him a little bit of glitter on his stars and on his tassel, just to sparkle it up a little bit. Like I said, hopefully he won't mind just a little bit of sparkle in one gem. Has a little paintbrush thing. It's really cool. So that's all I'm going to do to it. It's just, I put some sparkle right on the stars. It's hard to see, and then on the tassel, I painted some for him. And then I have that done. So I just take my glue, and I am going to be pretty generous because this is embossed. And I really want it to get into those little crevices. And I'm going to fold that shut so I can see where the edges are. And center that. I got a little wiggle room so I can move it a little bit. Okay. All right. So then the pocket. I have, for behind the pocket, it's 3 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to glue this down behind the pocket. And pay attention to where my crease, my fold is, because I don't want it on the fold. I want it right on the other edge of the fold. So that'll be like that. And then I put a piece of white that is embossed also, so it goes with the front, 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. So it's 2 1/4 across, 5 1/4 down. It's embossed. It goes on the inside pocket right here. Now, I was using, usually I use my punch to punch, and I might be able to punch through 2, I don't know. I'm having trouble with my arm. So I did something to my rotator cuff on my right arm, but anyway. Usually I would use just a punch to punch a little hole because it makes it easier to pull out the money or whatever. And I probably can punch, I think. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to center that. I'm just going to eyeball it. And I'm just going to do a little bit. Yeah, okay, good, okay. I can't do it on the other card because it's got too many layers. So I have my little punch right there. And then I like tear and tape to put stuff together if I really want it like really pretty strong, which is what I want with a pocket that's going to hold money or a gift card or something like that. And I put it right on the edge. And you just put your fingernail on it and pull, and it tears, just like the name says, tear and tape. And then I take my bone folder and I kind of really press that down good. So, because this is double-sided tape, which is like super handy. And then I'm going to take off the other side of it. And I usually start in the middle. It's easier than starting at the end to get those little tapes off. And I press down. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder because now I want to press that other side of that tape down really good. Okay. Now, the inside, I get my stickies in a pile. The inside is 4 by 5 1/4, and you want to, I always stamp before I stick it in, because sometimes I'll make a mistake or I won't like it or something, and I don't want to have it stuck in there and then I have to figure out how to either tear it off or do whatever. So my 4 by 5 1/4 inside piece, I've already stamped it, and I used the diploma, and then I used, they had the saying from Dr. Seuss, oh, the places you go, you will go. And this is from one of his books that I love to give to graduates. And I will give one copy of this book to my nephew too. It's just really, it's really great about looking into your future and everything. And it goes, the card will go with the book. I mean, I'm gonna give him a gift card or money too, but it will be really cute to give this card and to have something, you know, that the card will go with the book. So I just put that on the inside. Okay, and that is our first card. This goes with his school colors, are red and white. Not too feminine. I did a little sparkle and one gem, but all in all, it's pretty. It's, you know, it's a guy card. You know, I think he'll like that. So that's our first one. The next one is another guy card. Oh, I want to show you the difference in a minute between two of the reds. So I'm going to try to keep track of that red. And this is a high school graduate, another guy. And his school colors are purple and gold. And so I use purple, gold, and white. Which also goes with their school. White's an unofficial school color, but I've noticed that the cheerleaders often have a lot of white on their uniforms, and the players, the athletes do too. They use white on their uniforms, so white was okay. So what I did was I did focus on the purple and gold, and then on the front, excuse me, take a drink of my water. I used the same stamp set. It had congrats. I put that on this one. It had congrats. And then I used for a special graduate. And I used that diploma again on the front. Now I stamped first, and then I embossed. And the embossing folder that I used for this is also available. It's called Forever Plaid 3D Embossing Folder. It's really big, a really big folder. And so that's, you know, fairly masculine. I mean, it can be used for anyone, but, you know, fairly masculine too. Okay. And this is a different size. but it's still got a gift card holder, and I'm going to change the paper because I did not like this. I wanted something purple, but not too, again, not too feminine, and so I am going to change the paper. I found something better I liked. And then I stamped on the inside, I put some gold behind the white. I stamped "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams" by Thoreau, and I put 2025 on the edge. And my, we do have numbers and letters and stuff. I've had this set for a long time. I don't even know where I got it, but the one set we have in our catalog, which is the catalog, I had that out. There it is. Okay. Victory. On page 107, we have alphabet dies, and these dies at the bottom for the alphabet were the same size as my dies. They're 2 7/8 by 5 3/16, but there's no numbers with this one. Now there are numbers with this one, but they're a lot bigger. They're almost 2 inches tall and 1 9/16 wide. They're skinny, but they're tall. So they wouldn't have fit on here unless I staggered them. But if you're interested in alphabet dies, it's on page 107 in the catalog. We have really big ones, middle-sized ones, and small ones, but the small ones don't have any numbers, and the really big ones don't have any numbers either. I also use stylish shapes today, too. I'm going to use stylish shapes, which is available. Okay, so this has another gift pocket, and then this. Now see, on this kind of a card, I would probably sign my name over here because you wouldn't see it when it was closed, but I don't think I would write over here. I think I would put another piece of white back here if I wanted to write something to the graduate, so that it wouldn't spoil the look of what I've got going on. You know, just artistically, I just probably wouldn't write on it on this side. I might sign my name here, but if I wanted to write, I'd put it back here on a piece of white. Okay. So to make this card a little bit different dimensions, okay, this is 11 inches long. I didn't write it down. But I'm going to. So it's 11 by 4 1/4 inches long and wide. Yep. And then I scored it at 5 1/2, and then I scored it, I think at 8 1/2. No, 8 3/4. And I scored it at 8 3/4. Okay, to make these pockets. Okay, like that. So once you have that, of course, burnish with your bone folder to make those really good and strong. And the front, and I've already stamped, you stamp first, and then emboss. If you try to stamp after you emboss, it's got that bumpy surface and you won't get a good stamp. But if you stamp first and then emboss, it looks just fine. So this, to fit the outside, oh, and I have gold first, okay. Okay, first the gold mat for the outside is 3 by 4. And we're going to put that down, 3 by 4. Okay. Maybe if I turn this right side up. And then the white that I did the stamping embossing on is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, so all I did was I just glued this down. And you do have to be careful gluing on foil. Foil is not super forgiving of glue if you get it on a place where you see it. I mean, I do need to use some glue here, and I do want to place this carefully. I don't have a lot of wiggle room because I don't want to get that glue on the parts of my foil where I can see it, because even the eraser does not take it off right. Okay, so that's why I use my tweezers, so I can see it a little bit better. So then I am going to go back to my magic dimensionals and put some dimensionals on here. I'm much better with tweezers versus old arthritic fingers. And I'm going to place this on the front. Ta-da! Okay. Then for the inside, the gold matte is 2 by 4, and then the white was 1 3/4 by 3 3/4 for the inside pocket. It's not very clear. Okay, and foil is hard, at least with my arm thing going on. It's hard to do the punch. Okay, so I used my stylish shape, and that worked really well. And I ran this through my cut and emboss machine, and I think, let's see, which one did I use? 1, 2, 3. I might have used this one. I think I probably did use this one. And so I just cut this with a circle, okay, out of stylish shapes. And what I'm going to do is I can cut with my punch. I'm going to glue this one on. So I glued my embossed piece that was 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. I glued that onto the gold, which was 2 by 4, and I used my cut and emboss machine to cut that little circle out, and I'm going to glue this onto the purple. Like so. And then I can come in with my little, this is my 1 3/4 punch. And then I know I can cut this, but I cannot cut through. I got to be really careful that I don't cut through, or try to cut through I didn't do that very evenly. Cutting through cardstock, foil, and cardstock, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. In fact, I might just cut all of it at once on the cut and emboss machine, but I didn't want to do that right now. So the paper that I found, instead of that brightly colored paper, which was okay, but I didn't really like it. So I found this in Nature's Sweetness, and I linked that below. And it's just white and gold, which goes with my white and gold that I already have. And I'm going to put that behind my pocket. And I think I'm gonna like that better than I liked those brightly colored. I'm just gonna center it. I'm gonna keep it away from the fold, center it top and bottom, and then I'm gonna put that down. And I do like that better. What do you think? You know, it's a little abstract-y because it's not the crosshatch isn't complete, but it kind of goes with the plaid, and I think it looks a little nicer. And again, I'm going to use my tear and tape. I'm just going to lace them down on the edge. Use my fingernail to cut it. And then I do rub it down really good. It's the double-sided tape, so I want that one side to seal. And I come back in with my take your pick tool. I start in the middle, just trying to get that top tape off. Rub it down with my bone folder again to get it sealed really good. Okay, so there I have that. And then I have my inside. Okay, and what I did, I stamped "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams," and then I put my 2025 on there. So I have my 2025 cut out, and I just stuck it to some washi tape, so I would kind of keep track of that. And I'm gonna stamp, because I want this to stamp well, and I want it to stamp on this is a fun fold. Okay, so I want it to be covered up. So I want to stamp on the left. So I'm going to use my Misty. I'm going to put this in sideways. I'm going to use my magnets. I've got "Go confidently into your future" right here. And I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape, because that's, and again, pick the colors that go with the school that your graduate goes to. And so this graduate, his school colors are purple and gold with a little bit of white, so you know that's why I could use the white. And then I'm using Gorgeous Grape to stamp this. And with a stamp positioner, you get it in place, push it down. I need to have one down here. Yeah, that'll work better. So I put my grape on there. And I use my rubbing tool, and I think you're going to see it doesn't stamp really well. So I'm going to need, so fortunately, I am going to really stamp this up again. And that's the great thing about a stamp positioner, is you can do it again and again and get it in the right spot. I still don't have that middle word "confidently" looking the way I want it. I'm going to rub it. I'm going to use my finger right over that middle section that was having, oh, there we go. There we go. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Now that looks the way I want it to look. Okay, clean my stamp off. Put it back on the block that I'm not really going to use, because I couldn't have done 3 stamps in the same spot at all. No way I could do that. And this will go on the inside, but I do want to glue down my 2025, and I found out my 2025 fits, but it's tight. And so I'm going to do a dry fit first, which means I'm not going to glue it down quite yet. Oh, I forgot. I cut a mat for the inside. Now, this is, you know, kind of a big waste of gold paper. I might cut some other gold stuff out of this middle before I glued this down, but today I didn't. But this is my gold mat. So I am going to put this on a gold mat. And then I'm going to do my 2025. So I'm going to put a little glue. Here. And I'm going to try to be really careful to do this. I just don't have a lot of space to wiggle. You just don't want to get glue on foil, let me tell you, or where you're going to see it. I mean, you can get glue on foil, but not where you want to see it. Okay, so there. Now I put that in the middle. Okay. And now I take my 2025 and I'm going to place these on here, probably using my tweezers because it works so much better for me. And it's a tight fit, and I know it's a tight fit. And actually, one of the ways to do this, and I have some in here, but I don't know where it's at, is using, oh, what is that called? It's clear, oh, press and seal, yeah. Mine's like way under the table, I can't get it. Is doing this and then using some press and seal to go on top of it, and you'll keep your numbers, letters, images, whatever, in order. It's a really nifty trick, let me tell you. So I put my 2 at the top, my 5 at the bottom, and then my other 2 in the middle have to fit just right. Okay. So I am going to do my 2 at the top and my 5 at the bottom first. I am going to use my precision glue, which I should have put some dots of glue on here before, but I won't put heavy dots. I'm going to do my 2 and my 5. I'm going to put that like really close to the top. And my 5 is going to go really close to the bottom. See, I don't have a lot of glue on there on purpose. But I'm going to put something on top of this in a minute to get it to adhere, because this is strong glue. Yeah, those are going to fit. Okay. It's just a little tricky because I'm not using a ton of glue. I'm using dots. Front. That's just not square. tell I have to concentrate on this a lot to get it to work. Okay. I think that's what I want. Yeah, 2025. So what I'm going to do is I want something heavy, like a punch. I'm going to turn it upside down. Well, this is the top. And I'm just going to lay that punch on there for a minute to let that glue set up and really get adhered. And I'm going to actually set this to the side so we can work on something else while this is adhering, and then we'll put this on in just a moment. Because now I'm going to teach you something even more exciting. Big schools like colleges and things, you can go online and you can borrow their logos, which is like so much fun. And so I have a friend whose daughter is graduating from WSU, my alma mater, and their colors are crimson and gray. And what I wanted to show you, like I told you, my nephew, his was red and white, and this is crimson and gray. So red and cherry cobbler are different. Can you see the difference in these colors? This is probably better. So my nephew was red, and I used real red, and WSU is crimson, which is very much like cherry cobbler. And so cherry cobbler is a darker, more rich red. Okay, so I'm going to use cherry cobbler on the WSU card, and I used real red on my nephew's card because that was his colors. Okay, so I went online and I found a zip file. I just looked up Washington State University logo, and this is what I found. But of course, that was a little big. But it was a zip file, so they had a whole bunch of logos, and some had black backgrounds, and I didn't want that because I didn't really want to cut around this very badly. I wanted to cut a circle, which looked a lot better. And so I finally found the right file that had this, and it was the wallet size. It was the smallest one. It was the wallet size, and I had to, I used my circle punch. I think I used this one. I think I did. A 2 3/8 punch. No, I didn't use this one. I didn't. I used Stylish Shapes. That's what I used. Yes. I used Stylish Shapes, and I used, for the crimson part, the cherry cobbler part, I used the second largest one, and for the cougar, I used the third largest one to cut that out. And there were words, Washington State University, under it, so I had to be careful to not, I didn't want any black on it. And I mean, if it would have been the whole thing, it would have been one thing, but I couldn't get the whole, it didn't even print the whole thing. So I just wanted the cougar logo on this card for WSU. Okay. So this is another fun fold. It's also, it holds a gift card or cash or whatever you want. I stamped "Congrats, you did it" on the inside. I put this strip over here, and I put some of these little beads, jewels, and these were actually from Christmas. These are cherry cobbler and pearl adhesive backed pearls. So I had my iridescent pearls that I used on the first card, and these are actually, they were like cranberries for Christmas, but they were the right color. They were cherry cobbler. So I took 3 off of there, and I put them down here. I linked those below too, and they are available. So for crimson and gray are WSU colors, And I could have used silver foil, but I was kind of done using foil after I did that last card. So I just thought I used smoky slate for this one, and I thought it looked pretty good. I did put a stripe here because I thought it needed something. And then I cut out, oh, here I showed you how I cut out the cougar. I'll use that one. I think I cut out some more 2024. Yeah, I did. Or 2025. 2024 is past. I cut out 2025 in the cherry cobbler on that one. So, all the pieces and parts for this card, again, a little bit different measurements. It's a fun fold, and it has the pocket in it, but I didn't put anything behind the pocket. I just thought I thought it looked okay without anything back there. So the pieces and parts for this one. The card base is 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches. I scored it at 2 1/2 and 5 1/2. Okay, 11 by 4 1/4. I scored it at 2 1/2 and 5 1/2. And then I would take my bone folder, of course, and I would give it a really good crease. And for, I mean, high schools, I'm not sure if you can find logos, but almost all universities you can. You can find that online, and you can get the right colors. And I'll bet you Stampin' Up! Has a color that, if it's not right on, it's pretty darn close. So our cherry cobbler, as you can see, matches their crimson in their cougar really, really well. And so that's what it looks like when I cut it out. And it was just on one whole piece of paper. I couldn't figure out how to get multiples on a paper. There's probably a way to do it, but I wasn't going to take the time to figure that out. That takes me too much time. So I just cut that out. Then like I said, I used my Stylish Shapes number 3, third largest, to cut out my cougar. And I just ran that through the cut and emboss machine to cut out my cougar logo. And I was just careful not to get any of this black letters on there. When I cut that out, I can place it just right to get that to work out. I'm going to save those because those are useful. They're not just a one-time thing. The inside is 5 1/4 by 4. And you want to stamp whatever you're going to stamp inside first. Okay, so maybe we'll do that. We'll stamp that first and do the inside. And I did congrats. There it is. And again, I used my Misty. And I'm going to put it on the left because it's going to be covered up. And when you put it in the Misty, square it up with your corners. It works a lot better. So I put congrats at the top, and I used cherry cobbler. Let's try this. And I put you did it at the bottom. And so there's a little room in between to, of course, sign my name. And if I wanted to write more, I would just cut another piece of white, 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to put that in the middle. Yeah. So I used, get all my bags out of the way. I used my cherry cobbler this time because that's the color I want. And you can pretty much do these at the same time. probably going to wipe that off of the edge. I don't want that to. I mean, it doesn't usually because I have stamps in there, but I'll just be careful with that. And I can, using my stamp positioner, if I need to redo this, I can. If it doesn't get it as dark, and the congrats didn't come out quite as dark as I wanted it to. You did it, that came out pretty good. Oops, do not do that. So I tap, tap, tap. Oops, there it goes on the floor. Press my congrats again. Still not getting it. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Maybe that's what's hanging me up. Use my finger to put it really hard. There we go. That gave me a good print. And that's what I wanted. So let's put these away. Wipe off my Misty. Try to keep track of my 2025. Already sticking to stuff. Okay, so this is going to go on the inside, and I'm also, I used cane weave, and this is available. It's not on page 129, that's the other catalog. It's linked below. I think it's $10. Again, this is just a nice, I used it for the front and the sides and the back and everything, all of it. So this is the stripe for the right side on the inside, and it's 1 inch by 4 inches. And I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to leave a little piece of white because that's where I want to put my gems. Okay. And I'm going to use liquid glue because it's embossed with the cane weave. Leave enough room for my gems. And clean up my glue mess. Okay. So I'm going to use, this is just going on the inside. There's no foil to mess with. So I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal Plus on this. And I'm going to find those nice gems I just showed you. Like I said, these are Cherry Cobbler and Pearl adhesive backed gems. I just took 3 of them and I put them down here for a little visual interest. And actually, these groups of 3 that are meant to be cranberries or something on a wreath, they come apart really easily. And you can use them all separately, or you can use them as a grouping. whatever you want. So see, I didn't want any of this to show. I just want this to show. So again, I would, like I said, I would probably cut a piece for the back if I wanted to write more on that, just so it would not ruin the aesthetic of it. So my top, oh, this is my flap. I have a flap. Okay, this is my front that goes here, and I embossed it with a cane weave. It's 2 3/4 by 4, and you can emboss that with whatever you want. I use cane weave, and I'm going to put that down with, again, some glue, because glue does work best when you are gluing or trying to adhere something that is embossed. And I'm going to fold that shut so I can see the edges. Try to get that centered on there. Okay. And like I showed you here, see this piece is separate, and I'm going to glue that on. So that's a separate piece. So I have a mat that's 3 3/4 by 3, or 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. This is the mat for the flap. And then I have the gray, the smoky slate, and I embossed that 3 1/2 by 3, goes right on top of it. And then I cut the second largest circle from Stylish Shapes. It's a 2 3/4 inch die. And I cut that out of a piece of, this is 3 by 3, okay? This one's 3 by 3. And so I cut my Stylish Shape die out here, and I'm gonna put my WSU logo on here, all right, like that. So I am gonna glue the logo down and glue the mat to the embossed gray piece. Huh? Flip that around. Then I'm going to glue my logo down. And then I'll pop the logo, the crimson, or the cherry cobbler color / crimson color, up on dimensionals. And I'll just put that down for the focal point. So I think that's really nice when, it's so nice of the universities to let us borrow these things and use them. And it's just all over the internet. You know, you can get a logo for almost any college. There they are. I knew I had a partial sheet. I didn't need to get a new sheet out. And so, whoops. I had 2 circles there. Dang it. Stylish Shapes is really, really useful. Try to get my WSU straight here, the Cougar. Anyway, stylish shapes is really, really useful. I use it all the time. And I'm just going to glue this on, and I just want to pay attention to glue it on the left. So I'm going to put some glue right here. And I'm putting a lot because I'm gluing it onto something that's embossed. And I want to leave room for my 2025. And I want to put this cherry cobbler so that it's against the gray. So there's some contrast to that. Okay. And now I know my 2025 will fit on there. I did it on the other one. I have a little bit more room. I must have this a little bit bigger. Yep. I have a little bit more room than I did on the other one. And in fact, this is now dry because I've had that punch sitting on it. So why don't I just quickly finish this card. And I want to center that. So that was the card, the purple and gold card we were working on, and we got our 2025, laid something heavy on it. It can be a book, it could be anything, just to get it to adhere, because I didn't put a lot of glue on because I wanted to be able to move those around a little bit. So there's that one. And I'll share all of them with you in just a minute. So I'm going to put my 2025 on this one and adhere it. I want my precision tip. Glue my 2025 on here. Oh, I bet I forgot to put that lid back on. I did forget to put the lid back on. See, the lid keeps it from drying because it will dry really fast. And if it dries really fast, you go over and you grab your little box of pins when it dries really, really fast, and you stick a pin in it. See if you can't unclog it. And that usually will work. Yep. Okay. Put the lid on it, Sue. Yes, that keeps it from drying out, from getting clogged up, all the things. So now I'm going to put my 2025 on here. Again, I do my top and my bottom. And I'm probably going to lay the punch on it for a minute to let it get firmed up. Yeah, that looks nice. because my original one, I had a stripe on it. Where did I put my original one? I'll tell you. Anyway, if you remember, my original one just had a crimson stripe or cherry cobbler stripe. So I'm going to do this punch trick one more time. And we'll look at these other ones while I try. I'll look at the floor here. Sometimes I just drop stuff. I have so much stuff on the floor you wouldn't believe it. Oh my gosh. Can't even blame this on the grandkids. Okay. Oh, it's right here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is the first one I did, and I just put a stripe, but on the new one I put 2025. But everything else was the same for this WSU card. And my money pocket. Oh, I didn't do the pocket. Okay. When I get my 2025 dry, I'll do the pocket. Okay. So that's that. Here's my purple one. Purple and gold. The 2025 in the pocket. One with bright colors, one with more muted colors with gold and white. I really do like that one better. What do you think? Which one do you like? Do you like the bright colors? Do you like the muted? Okay. And then these two that I made with just a little bit of Wink of Stella on the stars and on the tassel. Celebrate, you did it. Oh, the places you'll go, and like I said, I buy the book to go with this. It's just a great book if you haven't read that book. That one by Dr. Seuss. His name is Theodore Geisel. And it just talks about the future and all the different things that are in store or could be in store for you in your future. It makes the perfect graduation book. Perfect. So I did that one. And then, for 2025, it's probably almost dry on this one. I do like the 2025 a little bit better than the stripe. What do you think? I think it adds something to it. So, I didn't finish the pocket. So, for the gift pocket, it's 2 1/4 by 4. It is also embossed, and I would cut it with the stylish shapes, or I might be able to cut it with my punch because it's just 2 pieces of cardstock. But that foil is really thick, and I can't get myself, my arm is too sore to punch through that. I mean, I was really leaning on it yesterday when I was trying that, and it did not work for me. So I just put this on there. And whatever you do, whether you're going to punch it with a punch, or if you're going to die cut it, you want to do that before, gotta get this right, before you stick it down with the tear and tape. I think I can do that. Yep, I can. Okay, so then I bring in my tear and tape, very end, I bring it in. Put my tear and tape down on the edges, on the very, 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 very edges. And use my bone folder to rub it down good. Take your pick tool to get off the top piece of tape covering. double-edged tape is just really, really useful. Use my bone folder again just to rub that down really good. Okay, and that is it. That is it. It's my WSU card. I love it. I love it. I think she's really going to be happy with it. And again, I would, if I want to write stuff, you know, I would put a white piece on the back and do my writing so that it doesn't ruin any of the aesthetics of the front of the card. You know, you can certainly sign your name right here because that wouldn't be able to be seen, but if you want to write anything, put it on the back, okay? All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me today. I'm sorry that took a little longer than I thought. Everything always takes longer than I thought, right? You know. Okay. Next week I'm going to do, I ordered washi tape, the special washi tape. I'll show you it in the book. Well, now I'm going to have to flip this again. Hold on. I can do this. Not a problem. This washi tape is on page 85. It's so pretty. There's so many things you can do with it. You will not want to miss this free class I'm going to do next week on using the washi tape and the dies. It's one die that matches it, and it cuts out all the little pieces, and you can do so many cute cards with this. Anyway, so you don't want to miss this next week, June 2nd. Hopefully at 9 o'clock, unless something happens, unless somebody falls or something. Again, that's what I'm going to do next week, and I'm really super excited to get that. Oops, there goes the catalog. And thank you for joining me today for individualizing and customizing your graduation cards. I hope you have a great time. If you need ideas, my contact information is in the description below me if you're on YouTube, above me if you're on Facebook, and you can contact me. I can help you look things up or try to find things for you. It was really easy to find the WSU one. I just looked up literally WSU logos, popped right up, downloaded the zip drive that they had, and then I could just go through there and find the right size. And you can change your paper, not your paper size, change the photo size in your printing stuff that you change. Just change the photo size, and it changes it to the size you need for a card, okay? All right, we'll see you next week for washi tape. You guys have a great